Okay. So, all right. So he gave you a quick background of his entrepreneurial leap from banker to brewer to opening up a bar and brewery. I've been amazed at the discipline in which he goes about vlogging, and so his learning to become an expert in social media parallel to becoming an expert brewer and business owner. So some background: year one, which was 2015, is that right? Of doing this, 16
of vlogging.
Vlogging.
The very first vlog I did was 2016.
Okay.
The 300 and 300.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 2016, he does 300 videos in 365 days. So I don't know what happened. Well, what happened is he had a kid towards the end of the year and lost those days. The second kid.
And now I did. My wife did.
Right. So we don't know if it's his or not. But we had videos 1 through 300, then kiddish, and then we stopped at 2016. And so 2017, he says, I'm going to come back with my goal. Meanwhile, in the back of his head, his goal is 1,000 videos in 1,000 days. So he got 1 to 300, stopped. We might have to talk about your, anyway, we can we?
Yeah, we can.
All right, so 1 to 300, stop. Picks it back up January 1st, and he's on a mission now to video 1 to 1,000, and gets to.
From the daily, from the 300, from that standpoint, there's a little bit of overlay, but 425 videos in roughly 2 years.
Nice.
So only 120 something in year 2 of this. More sporadic, not the Joe DiMaggio streak in 2016. 2017, that was 17. And so now 2018, I'd say it's even more sporadic. I'm trying to push him to get back into get on his streak to 1,000, and he's resisting, and it's okay that he's resisting, but we can talk about that. Anyway, what makes him a social media expert, having done this, is I haven't done a single vlog, so he's more of an expert than me. Sean, you've done, how many total vlogs do you think you've done?
I have
Social
3
casts.
accounts. Social casts, so just on Facebook, and like the YouTube and Facebook. Probably, I don't know, it's not consistent, and I don't record up, I don't bank them all, but I don't know, 40 or 50.
So you answer very similar to what Steve answers. How many freaking social casts have you done in your history?
100.
Well over 100.
Over 100. Yeah. Podcast is more. I know it's easier for the podcast because I know I've done 92 as of this morning, and then whatever else I did, prior to 2017.
Right. So you're the closest in the room to having his expertise in terms of quantity of social casting, right? What Steve has done in parallel is he's actually written down every single vlog he's done and kept track of views on each vlog. Which
Data.
The data is, I haven't sunk my teeth into the data part because I don't really want to get that involved in this. But, in his introduction, he says, I got 2,000 people to my open house, the opening event. And clearly there's a tie-in to having, this was your primary means of marketing. Was it your only means?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I paid $0 for traditional marketing.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth and
Plus this.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because what happened was traditional media picked up on it. So I had all the content out on social that once. Now breweries are kind of a hot thing right now, so that helps. Call a spade. But since I had all this content out there, writers were able to go and get all the information they needed without interviewing me.
Right.
And then they piggybacked off each other. So St. Louis Business Journal was the first, because I actually had a plan to reach out to all these outlets, send them emails, kind of press releases, here's what I'm doing. And before I even got to that, the Business Journal had released that Center Ice Brewery's coming to Midtown. They got wind that I signed the lease. And then that person had found saw these vlogs and all this material, and it was I was blown away with how accurate the article was.
So what I find fascinating is if you start with the end goal in mind, which is one of those mantras that I don't know if I believe in or not, but let's start with the end goal in mind. And Tom, the end goal in this particular case is having 2,000 people at an open house. Mm-hmm. If I blog, if I have an idea as good as the because it's what's the recipe to get to 2,000 people at the end? One is to have an idea as good as the brewery, right? Yeah. One is to vlog for 300 days out of 300.
Storytell.
But vlog.
It could be in picture form or written form.
Right. But if I vlog, if I follow the Steve Albers thing, and I vlog for 300 days, and I have an idea that is as good as a brewery, I can get 2,000 people to show up. What is that worth to a business? Because when in a previous conversation we talked about personal branding. What is that worth to a personal brand? But I have got to believe, and we don't know if it's the recipe is 300 or if it's 150 or if it's right. But the recipe, so far, what we do know is 300 videos yielded 2,000
people. Opening.
And the idea is a brewery.
How about a concert?
So, right. So we tried this with a concert. Now, was it free? Your open house?
Oh yeah.
And could we have gotten, if we did Rockford Cause this way, we did a video every day for 300 days and made it free, because let's not use lots of different variables, because 2,000 people would have donated, had we done
recommended
people,
donation.
Right. But even if you say it's a free concert, because we don't want to compare, he sold beer.
He sold beer, right? And food, I would assume.
So,
and paraphernalia.
We would have raised more.
T-shirts? Hats?
Merch, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So what is that worth? What could you quantify the 2,000 people at your open house, what that's worth?
I mean, so our grand opening weekend, we did $22,000 in sales.
Okay. So it's clearly worth more than $22,000 in sales. But it's not worth less. Can you quantify? I mean, is that?
This has been the $1 million question for me. We talked long-winded about that.
I'm blown away by, because I think it's a shit ton of work to do 300 videos. I don't think that is.
How long were the videos, Steve?
Anywhere from a minute to 15 minutes.
Okay.
So the duration
pretty
of
much
the duration of the content wasn't the variable, it was the quality and the story. So, sometimes it was, guys, I'm miserable, I'm pushing the date back for grand opening, sorry, and it's a minute video. Or it's a 15-minute video where, you know what, I'm taking a step back and I'm going down to Festus. This kid's got brain cancer, it's a washers tournament, and I'm going to showcase it and help raise awareness for this kid's GoFundMe.
Right.
The vlog was specifically designed for me to practice shooting and editing video in a routine. So the routine is I guess for me to maximize this routine of trying to pump out the best video possible from a cinematography standpoint, but also storytelling standpoint, is that you wake up every day between 4 and 5 a.m. and you edit until 8 or 9 a.m. So just figure 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. is your editing time. Then you post it onto the social platforms organically. So I would load to Facebook. I primarily just marketed on Facebook to my organic audience. I didn't spend time trying to build a business page and then try to, target and do different things. I wanted to practice because I knew the quality was going to be, I was going to stumble.
Sure.
So when I first started, even watching the videos, they're not good, especially with how much practice I have now. But, I knew that going into it. But what happened was the people who started watching then got to come along this journey with me and see the progression of.
And see, so the other piece of the recipe is, what did you start with? How many followers did you start with?
800.
And those are just friends, right?
From it was not a business page. It was a personal Facebook page with 800.
So anybody with 800 friends would be compared apples to apples with you.
Pretty common, right?
Yep.
Like Facebook friends.
I think I've got 500 plus.
Yeah.
But
So that's where and that organically grew in a year to 1,600 friends and family.
So your friends went from 800 to 1,600.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had the Center Ice Brewery page, and that essentially facilitated a a funnel to driving likes to our Facebook page. And so, we started with 500 and 1,000, and now we're up to 6,500. And so every time that we had a video that went really well, like obviously trying to raise awareness for a kid with brain cancer raised a lot of awareness.
Right.
But, I didn't do it to get attention for it, but that was an organic result of it.
Right.
So more people wanted to be my friend because I'm trying to help this kid, and then, oh, cool, he's opening a brewery, I'll follow that too. So it was karma, I guess, right? Like, so I have my own personal vlog. So that was really like a lot of. In 2016, I was building out the brewery, and I also had my kiddo, who was 18 months at the time, with me. So it was me and him jamming, just doing, whatever, 300 videos in 300 days. And then when the second baby came, my schedule of waking up at 4 to 8 a.m., I'm so naive. I was like, this is going to be perfect. I get up at 4 a.m. anyways. I'll get up with the baby. No big deal. And so, baby cries, get up, grab the baby, and then I'm getting into the video, and I'm good, and 20 minutes later, he's screaming at me, and I'm just like, oh, I forgot about the focusing part on the editing the video. If you've ever edited...
Post.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm done. I can't do both. It's too hard. So
How much editing were you doing?
Oh,
before?
Yeah, so, sorry, God, I really get on this.
I mean, it seems
so
like
editing,
4 hours.
Editing for 4 to 8 a.m., and then shooting from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Whatever content you could create through the if I was vlogging properly right now, I'd have a tripod set up in these corners,
right,
and I'd be moving them, and I'd be getting B-roll, and then I would after the meeting I would say, here's 2 topics from the Medici Marketplace meeting. Here's here, whatever we want to whatever we want the message to be, and then I'm on to the next thing. Then I drive down to the brewery, or I go home and see the wife and the kids, or I go to a meeting, or whatever it may be. It's sort of. The theory behind daily video blogging is documenting the journey. Imagine, not that I'm Steven Tyler, but imagine watching Steven Tyler become Aerosmith. Right. Imagine watching Steve Jobs and Bezos and all these guys before they made it big. It's not my theory. It's Gary Vaynerchuk's theory. It's just you just document the journey, and while you're doing that, you're going to become a better creator. And Vaynerchuk's theory is that everybody has strengths, and if you lay out your strengths and talk about your strengths of what you're passionate about, there's other people on right. There's people who love worm farms that we can connect with on Twitter, right? Anything's possible.
Urban worm girl.
And in today's Medici Magic, we talked about our lanes, and so mine are hockey, craft beer, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, right?
So Steve, here's what just monetizing this.
Yeah.
If it would cost $500 per video, which is really high,
yep,
right, and you do 300 of them, that's $150,000
yep,
to yield 2,000 customers, because they really are customers. Now, what you do to retain them and bring them back, and the lifetime value of this customer, we can go on and on and evaluate, equals $75 per customer acquisition. That's a no-brainer in MarketVolt's world. Would you pay $75 for a customer?
Yeah, but here's where that equation doesn't fully work for me. So I completely agree with the approach.
It's a no-brainer in Medici's world. We would pay $75.
Except right? The assumption is that those 2,000 customers just surfaced from the ether, and they didn't.
No, they surfaced from. He started with 500 customers, if we're comparing apples to apples. Right, his friends and family, and this grew to, you said 1,000
for what?
Your followers. You start with 800.
800 to 1,600
to
grew to 1,600.
And now where's it at?
Well, that's my own personal Facebook page. It's just 1,800, which I stopped focusing on that.
Because then you moved it over to Center Race.
While still growing the brewery organically, So when the brewery had
even if I deduct the 2,000, if I give you the fact that he had 800 to start with, let's divide by 1,200 new customers, right? So it's $150 per customer. So in the brewery world, we're starting to get to, it doesn't make sense. Number one, it costs him less than $500 per video.
Sure.
Even if I count his time as the person doing it, he wouldn't pay himself $100. He would love to acquire somebody who would pay him that to do that. But anyway, these are just extreme numbers to show the customer acquisition cost of this model works, right? Start playing with the different variables. Like Tom says, okay, I can't give y'all 2,000, but I can go to 1,200 customers.
Just
Equals,
change the math, right?
take 150,000 divided by
120.
That's what I
Right.
said.
But I agree with you.
15.
Totally agree with you. But even if because I think we're off on these, I think we're off everywhere, right? So, because let's put some real hardcore numbers. If we hired somebody like Steve today, or like a Cody Deal, or like a Moses, or whomever, to do this, 500 is way high. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so give me a number that we think we could find somebody to do this. $100 a video?
For every day?
Uh-huh.
Well, I think you work it backwards. What are they willing to spend per month?
No, what I'm trying to say,
What would somebody work for?
yeah.
Like, how much would you have to
there
pay
you go.
some? Like,
Got it.
what would somebody
To do
doing the editing?
quality, it's a
yeah.
full day job to put out the way he did it, it is clearly a full day job. Now I could argue that I could get it done less, but I don't want to sacrifice the quality of the video, blah,
Right,
blah, blah,
that's
blah,
a
blah.
lot.
So it's a 8-hour day to find a videographer who can
edit.
edit.
Well, and I remember Moses even saying that was the biggest challenge was
Right.
the editing part.
But there
People who want to do it.
Yeah. So even if you did $20 an hour, 160, 200.
To piggyback on this, this is actually the hottest thing that junior high kids want to do right now.
So
Everybody wants to become a YouTube social influencer.
So
I
$5
guess.
a kid,
I
an
mean-
hour, right?
I mean,
3? I don't know. It's more than their allowance, I would think.
so you might be able to find a college intern to, that maybe shoots a little bit. Like, so here's
I
actually,
know my 12-year-old wants to do it. He's like, I want a new Apple computer.
There you go. Get him a computer and have him start following
I
people.
want to
around
make $1
the
million
camera.
on YouTube.
So there's a guy I followed, and I'll be very brief with this. I watched him go from 500,000 subscribers. He was a filmmaker, posted some videos on YouTube. A lot of them went viral. Like he had like 12 videos on YouTube. It's Casey Neistat. He had like 12 videos go viral, and he had 500,000 subscribers. He started daily video blogging. Now he's got close to 9 million. And he did 700 videos. Now every single one of his videos are just mind-blowing. Like you are lost in the story for 9 minutes for a day, and it's incredible. And then you're like, oh man, it's over. And then until he and so the next day, like I found myself the next day, like, did he post yet? Did he post yet? And then I'm like, whoa, because it's a daily habit. It's a daily habit for yourself to produce and create, but it's also a daily habit for your end user. And actually, so of my 6,000 followers on Facebook, I actually have people that want to take selfies with me in the brewery when I'm there because they've been following this journey for so. So
They feel like they know you. You're,
Exactly.
You're your own celebrity, and you didn't.
I was at Kirkwood Ice Rink this last Saturday taking my kiddo skating, my 4-year-old skating, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, wait a minute, the podcast, and I was like, the vlog? He's like, yeah, and it's like.
So he didn't even know your name. He just like,
No.
and
And it's so like,
I get that.
I mean, so it's
kind of weird.
It's just the power of social that I studied it from such a macro level that I
think
tried
I've
it on
seen
the
it.
micro level, and I'm starting to already see results. And now, and Josh knows my own personal goal is like accumulatively between my own personal handles and the brewery handles, I've got about 10,000 followers. The goal is to grow that to about 100,000 followers collectively over the next 2 years. And so I need to get back to this, which is, for those that were here this morning, the reason I hired Bill as a head brewer is I needed to replace my time from brewing to creating content.
Yeah,
It's much better for me to create movies and put them on YouTube than to clean tanks.
that's your zone of genius. Yeah, I get it.
And he's passionate, and he's living his dream job, so it's win-win.
Absolutely.
I try to be brief, I really do.
No, you're good. I'm just wrestling with because I'm actually in favoring Tom's head right now. I don't think this recipe works, but I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't.
So like, here's a great example. Let's talk about Medici Media. So Brett and I talked, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, and it was right after this, and I was looking at the Facebook page, and I was looking at Medici Media, Medici Marketplace. Like, I think through video, like from my own outside, I'm starting to get to know this a little bit more, but I can think of 10 to 15 pieces of content that we as Medici Marketplace could create and post on either Medici Media or Medici Marketplace that would get traction. I just did a video for my buddy Shannon Lewandowski that got 5,000 views from his own personal Facebook page that has 1,600 friends,
Right.
but he posted this video announcing this hockey players in business, and what he had is, he came to me, he's like, I got this idea, I need to make this announcement of my new, let me give you guys more context. LinkedIn group, he has 40,000 members, he started it, called Hockey Players Doing Business Together.
Wow.
This not-for-profit reaches out to him and says, hey, we want to merge. We want you. We're a 501c3. We're not for profit. What we want to do is we want to create a place for people, hockey players, to network, but we want to charge them $50 a year, and so we want to grow it to 1,000 people or whatever, and we want to take that money and we want to give it back to the game of hockey. So we want to give it to USA Hockey, we want to grow the game, we want to give it to Hockey Fights Cancer, we want to do all these things. My buddy Shannon's got this group that he's limited to what he can do with the group because it's LinkedIn, it's its own group. People they can network, but not as efficiently. So now he's funneling them over into this new not-for-profit to monetize it, and then also to help people network and generate business and all this good stuff. So he comes to me and he says, "Hey, here," and I've known that he's a close friend. And he says, "I got this idea of I want to shoot this video making this announcement." And I want I see it where I'm on the ice talking about it, and then I'm also in the business setting. So shirt and tie and sitting right here, but then also standing at center ice in his full gear.
Right.
And so for me, it took me. So again, talking about efficiencies and with Josh it took me an hour to shoot it and 2 hours to edit it, and it got 5,000 views.
I watched it.
And I'm one of those guys that I didn't want to put my name all over it. I watched it.
Yep.
And it's. Because the story was good, it was 2 minutes. It was to the point. It hit the key drivers of what he's all about and what's in it for the end user. And so when I use that as an idea of that, I've got 10 to 15 ideas already going through my head that could grow this, would drive membership.
But again, the
Which
combination of the discipline, it's the frequency, the quality, all of that stuff, right?
Sure.
So,
but I'm not saying daily vlog for Medici. I'm saying
I'm saying anybody out there will this work with.
If they do
And
it,
why won't? And if
they do
why
it
won't
themselves. I think you almost have to create some sort of tutorials and workshops to give people the tools to do it.
Perfect segue for Mike Roberts.
Could
Mike Roberts do a 2-minute to 5-minute weather update every single day and create a pretty good audience?
I think absolutely. And if he made it entertaining,
they get sponsor dollars to pay for it.
100%. And this Casey Neistat guy, he has Nike and he has all these companies reaching out to him because he knows
Because he did that.
Yeah. So what
Right.
comes with this is sponsorships and all that stuff.
Because what I said to Mike was that people are consuming everything in a minute or two. I use the KSDK app to check the weather.
Yep.
Because it's quick and efficient. I haven't watched the local news in 5 years.
Have you seen the one weather app where it's pardon my French, but it's fucking cold out, or they make it funny, they have a daily thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you
So-
can do that with Mike pretty easily, and then just get viewership up enough to where you can sell sponsorships to it.
So again, that expression, design with the end in mind, is the end for Steve was a grand opening event that yielded 2,000 people.
The end for Mike Roberts would be monetizing his audience through videos, and he could do that through sponsorships because he has the name, because he's a weatherman, and he could organically build a page on Facebook. He could do it on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and have videos that people are now tuning in to watch him talk about the daily weather forecast.
The end for the media space is 50 new members in the next
Right.
6 months, and then 20 new clients for the marketplace.
But
So
I
if
wanna
you had me
tie
at
it more
15
literal.
ideas. I don't know whether it's 7.5 for marketplace and 7.5 for media space.
Sure.
To me, it's all interrelated.
Right.
But I'll be your sandbox. You can let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, just
I'm
this
Very
like I said, I've got
interested.
equal passion as for the brewery as I do this, and I'm trying to battle. And this is where Josh has really been an incredible coach. Is just trying to keep me not diluting myself from one or the other. Brewery's got to be number one, most and foremost, but number two, there's something here that I don't want to just focus on the brewery and let it go.
Yeah,
This is the Craze is going to be $1 billion company.
.net.
But look, I didn't know what
Did he get
my
lucky?
and Steve. My approach to this is not an inspire you to do it pro bono, because I think it's worth the investment. If we can generate a pipeline of leads for the marketplace, and if the media space can get to 150 in the next 90 days, I mean, there's a meaningful return associated with that. And selling memberships at the right price.
I think for me, that lives in Webster, Shrewsbury area, I had no idea that this place existed without Matt DeRyan, word of mouth.
Right.
But had I seen a Facebook ad that said, "Are you an entrepreneur in St. Louis and you're looking for somewhere to like jam?" I would have immediately came to a workshop or something. Like, just for me, that's my own bias, right? Like, just because I know there's T-Rex and other incubators around town, but there's what's in it for me. Like, I've never seen anything. The reason I haven't been to the T-Rex is because I haven't had a Matt DeRyan take me to T-Rex.
Right.
Or there's another place in the West End, like just the entrepreneurial hubs, the incubators. And so when Matt brought me here and these guys gave me hours to tell my story, and then I quit my job for a year. My wife let me quit my job for a year to pursue raising capital for the brewery, and Brian had the same thing for a year, and it was just like, what? Like, I can't believe this exists in St. Louis.
Right.
And that's what I tell people is, like, when I brought Bill this morning, I'm like, look, like, you're not going to understand it until you go there. And so it's to me, that's the message. Like, you just got to get here. Even last week when I was sick and I was texting Josh and I was like, I'm so pissed that I'm missing this. Because, like, I think we as entrepreneurs, it's in our blood, and, like, we all thrive off each other.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I love the fact that I've, seen you and seen these guys and meeting these guys, and I know there's 116 more.
They're all thirsty.
Yeah. Well, just like in the magic session with Jimmy and Jay, like, all of us were chomping at the bits of how we could help them. I mean, Brett was, and then Wayne, and like, that's a cool product that we all see the potential for, and
you just want to give your ideas to it.
Well, and like, for me, I'm so, like, you want to talk hunting, I have nothing to contribute. But when he says, I'm an engineer, how do you market this thing? I'm just thinking, yeah, like, I can't, I'm like a dog with 16 bones and I can't pick which bone.
Relate to that.
So, but this whole video blogging is the future. The top 3 things you can be doing on social media, according to Gary Vaynerchuk, are Facebook videos, Instagram social media influencers, and podcasting. That's right now. The biggest opportunity that's coming is voice. Voice by Alexa.
All my kids do is Instagram. That's it.
Yep. And so from the brewery standpoint, and when thinking about that, obviously I do the vlog, but I had a guy from Canada in to the brewery who has 400,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, and so it's building just like this, but see, the beauty of what I like about social, and I haven't done this yet, and I kick myself for not doing it yet, but just going on and finding other people and direct messaging them and saying, hey, I want to collab, I want to jam, I want to meet you, let's set up a one-on-one.
So the guy with all the followings on Instagram, if I came to him and said, hey, listen, I need you to get on and plug this thing for me, what do you want for it?
Yep.
How about what's your time worth?
Yep.
20 seconds. You got to believe it and understand it, but I want to go out to all these people. How much?
Every influencer, so that's why Gary Vaynerchuk said social influencers are one of the best marketing tools, is because they don't know how to price themselves. And that's, even if they were like, okay, $200 for a post.
Done. I would have paid way more than that.
And so there's like, so another thing we did as the breweries, we partnered up with Arch Apparel, which is the hottest new lifestyle clothing brand in St. Louis. They're called Arch Apparel, and this guy, he's an Aussie, and he's just this incredible entrepreneur that he has these great ideas, and he's built a team to create these. It's nothing crazy. I mean, it's literally a T-shirt with a circle that says STL in it, but he charges $30 for a T-shirt and has models around the city repping the shirt, and now he can't keep up with supply. And now he's got all these beautiful people. He's got Cardinals. He's got Blues. He's got celebrities, local celebrities rocking his apparel. And now he keeps growing. And he's got an in-house photographer. So like how it works is
What's that brand called?
Arch Apparel.
Arch Apparel.
So and so we're a new brewery, and I said, hey, we'd love to collab. He's like, cool, that's all we do. Like, let's collab. And so he came down, and he's like, let's do this. We want to do a photo shoot. So you get the backdrop, and so like we've been in hundreds of their posts, and so we're getting he's got 20,000 followers, so we're organically getting audience members from them. So I'm finding the social influencers in St. Louis and building those relationships because, and the guy with 400,000 followers, when he had 100,000 followers, he was working with this guy here in St. Louis who had 10,000, and the guy who had 10,000 was thinking, holy cow, this guy is being really nice to me. I don't know why. And he even said, why are you helping me? He goes, because it helps me. He goes, because it just feeds the ecosystem. And so paying it forward just keeps growing it. And that's, and that's sort of my idea with the social media agency is, I have these creative ideas of creating videos for, Medici and other brands and other businesses, but then also doing it for the brewery and the Frozen Cup and building all these audiences for everybody.
Like Through the Crease.
Like Through the Crease.
.net.
So Josh asked a minute ago, 2,000 folks, 300 videos, whatever the number was, did he get lucky? And I don't think you got lucky. I think you did something. What I'm trying to figure out, what we're all trying to figure out, is what is there to bottle here?
Sure.
And so the examples you've been citing, your example, those are B2C.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of where my brain is going is, if we're going to sell this, if you're going to sell it to the marketplace, is it the same deal if it's B2B? How does it play as a B2B play? You're doing this.
Yeah.
And you're building a following.
Uh-huh.
Is it translating into B2B sales? What?
It's starting to, and I can't put an exact dollar figure on it yet. But I think that
for you or for your clients.
But okay, so let's compare the two.
For the clients.
Sean, hold on, I'm trying to figure out
Everybody.
we to match this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then let me say this so I get out of my head, because I think this is maybe where you're going, Josh. Is the thing I heard you say that is the uncommon thing is his discipline in doing it every day or even for a couple of years, as much as you've done it.
Right.
Like that takes a discipline that, quite frankly, most people don't have, except for they get up every day and maybe they don't even do that. Right? So that's not an easy thing to do. And I think the other not easy thing to do for like the guy who was the 400,000 followers is, it's like, well, yeah, I can help as many people as I can, but what's his discipline that he does on a regular, consistent basis?
I have a case study for this. It's in a book by Gary Vaynerchuk from 2011 called Crush It.
Yeah.
And what he says in the book is, everybody's an expert in something, whether it's worm farms or hockey or whatever. Turn your passion into work. So what he says to do is blog. Yep. You're either a good writer, you got a good voice, or you're good on camera. It doesn't matter. There are very successful writers that have blogs, like Simon Sinek and Seth Godin and these guys, right? There's very successful podcasts, right? Like Tim Ferriss, and it doesn't matter. It just matters what you're good. I just choose video. And I just know video is very popular, but I could have done a daily podcast and did the same thing. I don't know if I would have had the same results.
But you'd certainly produce a result.
I would say that would be my counter to that. And then for the B2B, here's an example of an untapped market that I've already done some sample videos for some real estate agents. Now, it's not daily, but even just 2 videos a week for a real estate agent to be able to story tell, number one, who they are as a person. It's your business card and a bio.
Yep.
And then, so there's only 2 reasons that people go on social media. One is to educate, or one is to entertain. So the entertainment is, watching this 30-year-old with a kid, 18-month-old, looking for a location, open a brewery. It's reality TV. It's entertaining. But then the education side is the videos that I do. I just did one of how you could get started homebrewing for $500. Buy this equipment, buy this book, buy this, do this. Now you're homebrewing. Now I just educated somebody to, literally, I just had somebody at the brunch say, how would I start homebrewing? I go, you know what? I just made a piece of content around that. And so you bounce back and forth between educating and entertaining. And so that's going to build your audience. And then if you can do it from 2 times a week to 4 times a week to daily, right, you're going to build your audience that much faster. And so when I vlog, I have my organic audience that watched me daily, and now it's kind of sporadic. But even if it's like I did remember how it was so cold last like 3 weeks ago? I did a pond hockey video and it got 8,000 views.
Really?
I flew the drone and I told the story of how, but that was just an entertaining piece. That was, so it's going back and forth.
So my question has been for months and months is how you quantify what has been done, or how you keep track of what marketing leads to sales,
Right.
or what advertising. If you started out with 800 followers, and then started your campaign that turned into 1,600 followers, then by that rationale, maybe you got 800 followers out of that campaign, right?
Okay.
We'll just chuck it up
Sure.
that you did. So if there was a way for you to keep track of all the customers you had out of that 2,000, and you compare the two, then that would be a direct correlation potentially.
Sure.
So
I think the solution would be to, take screenshots of where Medici Marketplace is now with 300 followers, 500 followers, whatever it may be, and then start creating videos 2 to 3 times a week
25.
about, 25 videos a month.
No, 25 followers.
Oh, 20, oh. But either way, so like you create content around entertaining and educating of what you guys know and what you're trying to do here, and then you watch your follower base grow, and then you also track new members as they come in. How did you hear about us?
exactly. And so, but what I'm saying is that it has to be benchmarked to a percentage of sales.
Okay.
Because you can't go higher than percentage of sales, you go out of business.
It has to be benchmarked, so this is sort of where I was
Lifetime
going before.
value
It
of the
has to be
customer.
benchmarked to a percentage, pardon me?
Has to be benchmarked to the lifetime value of the customer.
That's why I put
not
1 month and
percentage
1 year.
sales.
Right,
Same thing.
This is
but
customer acquisition. This is not. That's why.
it's not just single transaction.
Correct.
Right.
That's why I went 1 month versus 1 year.
And versus 10 years,
Sure.
But how can you prove you're going to have somebody for 10 years?
Well,
In
it's-
our
Because
model.
it's the lifetime value of a customer. It's not. You're using a year as a benchmark, and I'm saying it could be 2 years.
you model it, one way or another you model it,
But-
and if you don't have track record retention, you're guessing.
Right.
But
And
you
you
still
still
model,
list it.
but you still model it.
Right.
But it's not just a matter of correlating the number of followers to that LBC. It's a matter of really trying to understand what's the true delta between the people who say, oh, well, yeah, I came because I saw your video, versus, I'm not stating it as well as I could, you started with a core group of friends and followers. And what would your number have been if in the same amount of time or effort you had done some other kind of word of mouth campaign to mobilize your folks? And what would it have cost? So, I mean, it really is just the question of choosing between, you've got a target audience, and it's comparing different media and investments in media to one another. So,
Sure.
So you yourself noted, it doesn't matter if it's video necessarily. You could do as Adam does, which is write a daily email. And if you had done daily emails instead, what would the difference in time and effort and cost have been, and what would the difference in result have been? Because that ultimately is what the buyer who's looking at, should I spend $150,000 to do this, is trying to assess. Well, wait a minute, I'm being told to do video blogging, I'm being told to do email, I'm being told to do Google, and what's the difference in yield going to be by doing this? I think there's a story to tell, an answer to that question. So I'm not saying that to shoot us down. I'm saying that's.
So I asked Tom if he thought you were lucky,
And I don't.
And you don't, but I think I do. I think that
I would strongly disagree.
I think you created your luck, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of hard work, I don't mean luck. I'm a big fan of luck outwins skill any day of the week. And why I think that he's lucky is I can't find, that 1 point on a map is X and 2 points on a map is a coincidence and 3 points on a map is a trend. We only have 1 point on our map, and it's Steve doing 300 videos and yielding 2,000 people to an open house. We don't even have the coincidence yet.
I think we're using the wrong metrics personally.
So what are,
you're right.
what are
But
those
don't
metrics?
forget that part of it, if there was luck involved, it was the Business Journal finding the story and then getting out in social, in the traditional media as well. So what
I agree with you. I that's why I'm saying there is luck. His hard work created that luck. Okay? But I don't think that if Karen did this on videoing photography in 300 days, she's going to have a meetup on the big event is going to be a meetup for photography. Right? Do you think she'd have 2,000 photographers in 300 days?
I think she could, if she was able to create the content that is going to provide value to the end user. And that's not for us to decide. That's for the end user to decide. But I think she could.
I think she could too, and I'm trying. That's what on one side I'm saying it's luck. On the other side, I'm trying to duplicate this.
Well,
Right.
And
so,
I'm right.
So real quick, since I just replicated Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crush It, he literally just posted the book I think comes out today called Crushing It, and it's case studies of all the people that literally just did this, and in blogging form, whether it's podcasting, video, or whatever, of case studies of how they did it. And I'm obviously I've got it on pre-order, but. Because it works for me, right? Like everything
Totally.
I've learned has come from this man that, has a social media agency that this is what they do for their clients, and they charge them $80,000 a month because they're Fortune 500 clients, and they're taking money from traditional marketing, TV, radio into Facebook ads, Instagram stories, and they have
Crushing it.
and they have 800 employees across 4 or 5 offices. Like,
I get it.
so I'm trying to take a small sliver of what he's doing and replicate it.
March
And-
6th.
What's that?
You'll
March
use it.
6th.
You'll get it March 6th. Crushing it.
Look,
Well,
and Steve,
I mean-
Steve, we can debate this for the next
Yeah.
10 hours.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I'm a willing participant with the marketplace, and we can do a proof of concept from a B2B perspective and start to develop some content. We're doing some already that we can
Leverage.
look at and leverage, and
Expand.
I'm in. So you had me at ideas. So let's go and quantify this and see if we can't move
Sure.
the needle.
Doing the crease should probably be a case study for that.
.net.
I can be a case study, and then you can have Medici Marketplace as a part of your portfolio. And
So here's an example real quick. We flew down to Atlanta, met with my buddy my buddy who believes in this wants to back me, but before he gives any funding, wants to test it out.
Sure.
So we flew to Atlanta to meet his buddy who's a real estate broker, and I said, just let me just do my magic. So we got there, literally just kind of dove into a listing that he had set up. I filmed it. We told the story of what he was doing, and so what we did is we positioned it on his Facebook page. Now, he only has 100 friends on Facebook, so I'm thinking this isn't going to get much traction, and that's okay. But
This is the realtor did or your friend did?
the realtor? So my friend's Nick.
Yep.
The realtor is Eric.
Okay.
So Eric Cross is our prospect.
Okay.
Nick's my partner in the media company.
Right.
So we go to Atlanta. I filmed this video. It's a 3-minute video, and it's sort of, let's position this as documenting the journey. And we shot this video of him showing what he was doing on a Saturday, and it was positioned as, today is the first day that I start documenting my journey as a real estate investor. Here's a glimpse into my Saturday. And so he posted this video, and what happened was it was a good video of drone footage of the house, and he was brokering the deal, and it was a double close, and we'll get into that kind of details can go in follow-up videos. But at the end of it, the video got 550 views, and he had 3 phone calls within 48 hours because people organically saw it on their news feed, and it was his friends. So literally, he got a listing from it, and then apparently this investor that has deep pockets that lives in California said, hey, I love the video. I want to see what you're up to. Let's talk. So we saw results. So, when not to be rude, but like when we're trying to monetize this and really structuralize, I don't think we can. I think it's, like when you do a TV ad, like you do the TV ad and, right? Like Nielsen ratings, like.
Charge for your time.
And you just
charge
do
for project,
and trust the process.
Percentage of sales.
Yeah. And that's been my biggest challenge with doing this media company, because from a bird's eye view for me, my goal is to have 10 breweries, one in each city, but then also have a media company of a team of graphic designers, photographers, videographers, editors, copywriters, that I can say, hey, I've got this idea of, I've got a video that I want to do that everything I learned from sales, I learned from the movie Tommy Boy. Here's the content, here's the idea. Let's go, let's roll, and then it's out in 24 hours because it's speed.
Right.
Right? Like with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, they have these algorithms in place that if content organically starts to move, it's going to be put in front of more eyeballs because people are going to want to see it. Hence why my pond hockey video got 8,000 views organically, because our hockey brewery audience liked the video and shared it.
Right.
And liked it and got, and we've had multiple videos that have had success, and we've had videos that have not had success, and that's what, so you don't live and die by the metrics, you just use those to get better.
So how does Karen figure out what the story should be?
For the photography,
Mm-hmm.
From a confidence standpoint, that's where I would come in. From my banking world, I would profile her and figure out her story. What's her family life, where's she from, where she grew up, why she does what she does for a living, and what she likes to do for fun, and what her goals are. And just with those 8 or 9 lanes, I can extract information that then I can create content in video form and coach her on the story of intro, body, close, talk about problems and resolutions and that sort of thing. And then it's storytelling, and that's going to build an audience for her. And so we have another prospect so when we went to Atlanta, we were like, holy cow, there's an opportunity here in the real estate world, because real estate agents want to build a brand, but they also need sales. And this can actually, we had results here. So let's meet with St. Louis realtors. So came back, met with one of my buddies who's a hockey guy, really funny guy, good looking dude, wife, two kids, lives in Webster, born and raised in Webster, loves Webster, had a really great life. All of a sudden, mom gets cancer and dies. And now his world is turned upside down, and now he paints, and now and he's got an incredible story, and he's much more, it's changed the outlook on his life. And there's pieces of content, I'm like, some people are comfortable talking about certain things, and I'm like, are you comfortable talking about this? Because you can resonate with people who have lost a loved one to cancer, and they can find, relief knowing that there are other people out there with the same issues. And you found painting worked for you because your mom painted. If you create a video and someone's like, maybe I should go try painting because that worked for that guy, and then that person starts painting, now you just provided them value.
Right.
And now all of a sudden this real estate agent now has a personal bio. And it's so to answer your question long-winded, it's the storytelling based on the education and the entertainment. Right, he's also a really funny guy. So he does CrossFit, and he posted a video the other day where he was working out, and he was like, in the caption he wrote I forgot to eat, and so he's lifting really heavy weights, and then he just passes out, and the weight hits him, and it's it's scary, but he makes fun of himself. So it was that was an entertaining piece of content.
Right.
But he could also do educating content where explaining to people, he's a real estate agent, so here's 4 tips on making your house better to sell. Here's 3 ways that you could, for $500 and painting and this, that, and the other, you can increase the value of your home by $5,000, right? And if someone does that and then they do that, then they just learn something from him, and they provide a value, and you just do that on a continuum. And so playing in the 2 buckets of education and entertainment, going back and forth, I think, if we extracted your stories and then also tie in the beautiful photography that goes with it, but not everybody, that's why Instagram's so great, is because photographers are actually given a platform to showcase what their abilities are.
Yeah.
And then it's also introduced a whole new market like myself that didn't realize I like taking pictures, and Josh is up my ass because I really want to amplify my vlog to where it's a really incredible cinematography video, where it's color graded and drone and 4K resolution, and like I can show you some videos that you're just like, holy cow, what just happened there? That's where I want to go. But Josh is also like, you just need to get back to daily because it fulfills you. And so like that's where I'm fighting them right now, and I'm trying to. I just got a lot. I'm stretching myself too thin. Can you tell?
Look at you, 2,000 visitors to an open house and stretching yourself too thin.
Or made the phone call ring 3 times for the realtor in Atlanta.
Right. And that's why my buddy Nick Dragon wanted to test this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's going to work. And he's like, all right, let's go out and try it. And so now where I'm at with my buddy, the realtor in Webster, is I just need to block some time and go shoot a video with him. And I promise you I can come back here in 2 weeks and say, here's the results already in 2 weeks for this video that he posted on his personal Facebook page.
What if there's not a personality? What if a bank? There's a bank, and the guy in charge is a banker.
Yep.
It's very stereotypical.
No offense to bankers.
No.
There's always a person.
So the question is, it's twofold, right? So number one, the bank I used to work at wouldn't allow. So the president and the owners of the bank did not want any. They wanted a very straight-laced, white-collar marketing
bank
platform, and that was it. That was where the guidelines that you had to play. And same with the financial advisory world, whatever. But if there was a bank like Brian, I don't know if they're a little bit more loose.
Oh, they're crazy at that bank.
I don't know, right?
Like, probably worse.
So, but you get my like. But if there is a banker that can have a little bit more leniency at, I know there's some banks out there where, like, actually, Fifth Third tried to recruit me, and they're like, yeah, we wear polos all the time. We never have to wear ties, or like, and we hang out, and like, under that.
They were recruiting you to work there?
Uh-huh. It was, but anyways, like
Hamilton might do it. I know some guys.
Yeah, so essentially, just like Peter Vachon's a real estate agent, I think it's just a matter on the person and whether or not they can do it or not.
But can you extract a personality out of somebody?
Maybe.
Maybe he doesn't want to work with banks.
I think Tom's question was
I know,
not bank specific.
We're like
personality in general.
Steve has been a trooper today, because I think for
that's true.
2 sessions now he's been tenderized and.
I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I'm not trying to pick on you.
I love this.
I'm in part I'm trying to learn from your experience.
Yeah.
So, and I'm trying to understand. I'm inclined to think there's a there. Okay, but I'm trying to understand what the there is.
Sure.
I'm trying to because I think the concern that I have, whether it's email or social, whether it's blogging or whatever, is that people will dive into, we'll hear success stories like yours, and we'll dive into some tactical path and mimic it, and yet what they're mimicking is not they're the mere act of doing videos every day is not enough. It's doing videos in a way that you did it with the right personality, and there was a whole lot of foundational stuff that you just brought to the table that you would have to distill from a client. So there's all sorts of variables here, and I'm not asking you to. I'm just trying to.
No, I get. So, like for your company, so email marketing, right?
Yeah.
So, fresh me on the name one more time.
Marketable.
I've heard of it. I've heard of. Is it the logo like a lightning bolt or no? Yeah. So, Webster University, Barrett Babler, Bob Gunther. Any ties there?
Webster used to, yeah.
Okay, so that's why I remember it, because I have a weird memory like that. But the Volt stuck out to me. What is Market Bolt on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or YouTube?
Yes.
All of them?
No.
What are you on?
We're on YouTube a little. We're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, not on Instagram.
Okay. What do you use those platforms for?
not using those platforms well. So we are using those platforms to build awareness, to
build brand,
create a little bit of viral buzz, to drive people to our website, to acquire leads, to build.
Bingo.
Right.
So on Facebook, how many followers do you have?
I don't know off the top of my head.
100? 50? 1,000? What'd you guess?
A few hundred.
Okay, cool. That's the norm.
Mhm.
So you could be creating content around email marketing
Mhm.
in video, audio, any form,
Right.
and posting it on your Facebook page. And if it has value, you're going to get feedback on it, whether or not it's good. Somebody like me that's an entrepreneur that's all in on social, I don't know hardly anything about email marketing because it's just not in my wheelhouse.
Mhm.
If you created a daily video providing tips on why email marketing works, that would provide me value, and then all of a sudden I personally would. Then you could run Facebook ads against entrepreneurs across the nation. And I ran a Facebook ad to promote an event, and it cost me $18, and it generated 400 views. I mean, it's just, the point is there's a cost for attention, right? TV's just overpriced. Everything works. Email marketing works. Social media works. TV works. It's just how much are you willing to spend for it? Where's the best bang for your buck?
Mhm.
I found just with this, especially with Facebook, with paying no money, I've been able to spend a lot of time invested into it. But if you invested the time in doing a daily video on being an expert in email marketing and then targeting that against entrepreneurs, and you strictly went after the education aspect of it,
Mhm.
you would build an entrepreneurial audience of business owners over a period of time. How quickly, I don't know. That's the variable is the execution of the ideas. Give me one stat right now of why I should do email marketing for a brewery.
Why you should do email
One
marketing.
statistic. I want objective.
So, because email converts sales online at rates, the statistic that you'll read is 40 times greater than the same investment of time and effort in social media. So if you put a pitch out to your followers on social media, you put the same pitch out to your email list, you'll convert at rates dozens of times greater.
Okay. So here's what I would love to do.
Mhm.
Social media expert versus email expert. And then you do a video podcast and you have a debate. I'll get all my stats, you get all your stats. We have the one video, then we go out and do some things and do a second video. No, there's no winner, right? Because both will work.
Right.
And then, but for entrepreneurs, it could be entertaining, and this is just like pieces of content that, what you just said. Like, if there was a daily tip, that's going to attract me to start following this. But then also, I know I need to have a daily, if not weekly, newsletter goes out to I know there's people that would love to read some, whatever's in my head about the brewery and what's going on in the neighborhood. I'm just not doing it.
Mhm.
But, if there's things that I could do, through MailChimp or I don't know. I really don't even, why you versus MailChimp? There's a piece of content. Why you versus the next guy in town?
Right.
What makes, it's essentially leveraging your strengths of you as a person or you as a business or both, and then creating content around those.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I have about 30 tips videos in the can that Moses shot.
Cool.
That part of it's in action on my part of it's that they're not edited yet, and they're not completely ready for publication. But so everything you're saying, I get, I understand. We're doing twice weekly emails with personality and with tips and educational values. So, and again, to underscore the idea that I'm not trying to fight or debate or say this is better than
Sure.
that. I am one of how many media subscribers here?
I don't think there's any now.
One.
Okay. I'm paying for it, I think. Or did you roll back my bill?
You should be rolled
We
back.
should roll back your bill, yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna get a bonus this month, okay? We should.
Okay. So, yeah, we can talk about that.
We're working on finding, and we have another person who signed up that wants to do the media.
Right.
We don't have anybody to fulfill it right now.
Okay, fair enough. And so as I was
if
thinking,
you're not paying, if you are paying, you shouldn't be.
okay, well
If you have paid, we'll get you a refund.
Yes.
Yeah. So as I think about the question, so the media subscription is $500 here.
Went up to 600, by the way, which you wouldn't have done.
Excellent. So that's $350 on top of the regular subscription. And as you're talking about it, I'm thinking, okay, if I continue to do this, if you get a person in place, am I gonna try to figure out what is $350 a month buy me in video blogging? So I'm trying to, from the perspective of both somebody bringing services to clients and somebody trying to grow a business, I'm trying to extrapolate
The value.
the value.
ROI.
I'm trying to extrapolate, is this story translatable to any business that wants to dive in?
And Tom, if you have, how many you have in the can right now? 50?
30.
30. So you have content developed. Maybe there's some
Editing.
curation opportunities to go
Mhm.
around that, packaging those.
Mhm.
So maybe it's more as an editing, not so much as $350 going forward, but it's a some cost. I've already paid for all this stuff.
Mhm.
So how do I prioritize, repackage some of this and just start using it? Because
Yep.
you already paid for it.
I know. Yeah,
So maybe
and
that's another
on
different
Wednesday.
service, which is
On
editing.
Wednesday, I have an email coming out that says that you have to err on the side of action, not inaction, and so
Yep.
there's no reason I should have 30 videos sitting in the can. But
I have a different observation. The challenge of the debate is interesting to me, and I'm not so sure Tom's not the right person to have that debate. But if Medici is, Brett's volunteered to be the sandbox. Medici's volunteering to be the sandbox. I want to build a second case study, of 300 videos. And again, this is just the first case study. It doesn't have. I don't want to change that many variables because I want to figure out, could you have gotten away with 200? Could you have gotten away with one a week? But if you play around too many of them, you can't figure this out. So the second case study should be as close to that as possible.
I don't think the quantity is the variable. There's a guy by the name of Peter McKinnon that.
Right, but I know that you don't think that,
No,
and I
but-
value
but
your
he would-
opinion more than I value mine. I just don't.
But he's
know
only
that.
posting 2 videos a week, and he grew to 1 million followers in less than a year. And it's because he leveraged social influencers and he leveraged his expertise in creating content on becoming a better photographer and videographer. He literally says in a video, in a vlog, that says, the reason I went from this to this is because I stopped making this content and I tried making this and it worked. And that was only, so I don't think I think the daily is its own variable, but
It's going to be really hard to have a statistically relevant
Yes.
case because of you have to have one variable that is the test, and then everything else has to be
Yes.
controlled.
Correct. That's what.
And so you can't control every other variable.
I know we can't control all of them. I just don't want to make. I'd like to reduce as many variables as possible.
I think
Right.
the only thing that I can do at this point
What
is
can do.
continue to do what I did with the brewery and the frozen cup and track data and statistics. And then, just like the Atlanta story and just like this guy that's the Webster realtor and the stuff we do with Medici is just keep tracking what's working. And then you package that up and then you eventually figure out how much time that took to make that. Just like you were helping me with my hours in a video. And I think it's, for someone like you, for the video that you're talking about, it sounds like a pretty simple video. Is it an hour to edit? Is it you charge an editor, is it $100 to edit the video and then it's done? Now you've got I think that's probably, you gotta price it for your time.
The unique position that you have, it's hybrid because you could potentially be a client of the marketplace.
Right.
You have a business, it's a B2C entity,
Yep.
it's a brewery, and we would love to help you grow your
Yep.
business. At the same time, you have a unique skill set. I think it's lightning in a bottle in terms of how you leverage social. And you could potentially have a portfolio of clients. So it's a very interesting
Agreed.
dynamic. That an interesting question on how email can help your business. It's an interesting question on how, distilling your brand strategy. Maybe there's opportunities there. Photography might be able to support you in what you do.
100%.
Yeah.
At this point, everything with the 10 breweries and the sort of I mean, it's literally just scaling with people at this point. That's all it is. I mean, just like I told Bill, like I'm trying to show Bill how I think as an entrepreneur, just so that way when he opens his brewery, he's using this as a case study,
right,
so he can make his even better, because his goal is to open a brewery one day, and I'm going to help him do that. But then also, we're jamming with videographers and photographers and graphic designers to create the ideas that are in our head. Like, we just did this brunch beer. We did a brunch yesterday. We made a specific beer for it. I didn't properly execute like I could have on that. I could have made a video showcasing us brewing the beer, talking about how we used this chocolate and this coffee and showing it going. Like, I could have done a lot more with it. I just didn't. And that's all about just the execution of results.
I feel that what I feel is that Medici is an experiential. It's experiential. It's not transactional. So you don't really understand what's going on here until you come up here and you see it for yourself and you interact with the people, whether it's around this table or you get a tour, to really have it come to life. It's really hard to do that in some of the more traditional mediums of communication. So it doesn't mean that those mediums aren't effective. It's just on the continuum of transactional versus relational, or transactional versus experiential. So I think very easy. Yes, there's lots of transactions that are happening at the brewery, but it's the experience that you have when you're there.
Right.
There's the affinity that you have, again, with hockey. It's the affinity that you have with the brand. And so social is a dynamic platform that allows you to bring these experiences to life.
And what he just said right there, I wish we would have been recording that, because that's Medici in a nutshell.
That's Medici. That's
right?
how I feel when I come up here.
And so that's your first video. Is what he just said is, you have to just come here and are you an entrepreneur? You just have to come here. Just trust us. Like, what is it gonna, like, do you want me to buy you some donuts to come? What, right? Like, because it is. It's the first hook. I literally called Matt and said, Matt, I need to meet, I need to talk to another entrepreneur, because I can't talk to my wife. I can't talk to, I don't want to talk with my team about my stresses, because I don't want to put stresses on them.
Right.
I need to find, and so I was like, Matt, let's talk. And he's like, cool, let's meet at Medici. And then he introduced me to Brian and Matt, and then Brian and Josh, and all of a sudden I've got 3 Matts. Right? And now I've got 15. And it just keeps scaling, and that's
the market volts. This is an integrated brand strategy framework, and so the elements have to be working together, and it's the right message to the right customer through the right channel at the right time. And it's just,
what would it look like for everybody to trial each other's businesses?
It's great.
I love that.
I mean, why not? Isn't that what we're all about?
I definitely need some market fold help for sure.
Me too.
And
do you have free Wi-Fi at your brewery?
For whatever reason,
No.
where I'm at in the city, the fastest Wi-Fi I can get is 10 megs download and 1.8 upload speeds, and that's the max. It's AT&T. I can't get.
Well, that's
any
your
faster.
internet connection, and so then the Wi-Fi in the restaurant is just dependent on hardware and routers. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Either way, it's very, very slow, and everything I try and do with video production, that's one other reason that I have stopped daily video blogging, is because if I'm in my routine and I'm editing at the brewery because I need to be at the brewery working, whenever I need to upload my 800 megabyte video to Facebook,
Right.
it takes 4 hours, and then it eats up all the bandwidth, and now my POS system doesn't work. And so that's literally one of the reasons that I've had. So I have to stay at home, edit video, and then the baby's screaming, and I'm not trying to make excuses. These are just challenges that I'm trying to find a solution, and that's. Even Josh's like, come here.
Isn't this a marketplace meeting? So for selfish reasons, if we're getting all incestuous, then Tom, I'd love to sit down. I need some serious help. I have a list, database, trying to distill that down myself. Where does that go? How does it sit? I'm working on content and copy. I and I know there's 1,000 different things I should probably be doing than doing that. So I would love to sit down with you and chat and help on some lead gen stuff.
Yep.
Steve, I'd love to sit down and talk to you on the 15 ideas that you have. That'd be fantastic. We're continuing to build some content with Sean and what he's doing, and I like where that's going with Facebook Lives and capturing real time, the experiences that we're having with our clients. Karen, I need your help, I imagine, in some capacity. Adam, Capital Innovators, we're figuring it out. You need to come to a strategy session. All right, Doug.
All right.
You good? All right.
We're good.
Marketplace out.
Thank you for bringing it home, Brad.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Weird irony is that I listened to a Franz, Johansson podcast of
Medici effect.
Copperfield. He talks, the actual Medici effect is the intersection of the cultures. So what you just did is an exact Medici effect.
Yes. True. Good point.
Well, light bulb went off when Brian said, let's work with you, let's figure it out, let's leverage each other's
trial everybody's
expertise.
services. And
So
it's the exact same thing of you not giving away, but having everybody trial a 2-hour session.
Yep.
It
And
speaks for itself.
give
away those the
Pads.
turbo pads. They're that good. I was real quick. I was telling Mike Roberts about something that Mark Benson does. He calls it the help approach. He says, I can go in any city in the country and I can be a good financial advisor in 6 months. Doesn't matter. He uses something called a help approach, where he goes and he finds influencers in the community, and he says, I'm looking to get established in this community and I need help. Can you help me find this, or can I trial this with you, or can you just help me? And so it's all about asking for help. And he tells somebody how he does it. He tells it to somebody else on somebody else. And essentially he's telling this guy how he does the work. He's proving to him how good he is at what he does. And by the time he's done, he goes, well, you were telling that guy how to do it, but I kind of want to know how you do it for me. And he just creates customers that way. So you give away your services and do it well enough, and all of a sudden they go, well, I want that too.
But I'm willing to pay for it.
I'm not paying for anything.
I have two extremes. On that note, anybody that would be interested, I'm gonna possibly explore putting an investment group for Jimmy's stuff. If you're interested on the investment side, let me know. Because I want to put together an investment group that would invest for sales and marketing of that project. You do not have to be involved in order to be the recipient of sales and marketing revenue. I just think there's an equity play there that's pretty good.
I think you just put it out to the members. Is that what you're saying?
I will put it, I'm going to get it more organized before I put it out to all of the members, but yes.
I'm interested, and I think my compliance issues.
Yep. Sounds good.
Well, we need to, we need to probably get some,
this is total
attorney
preliminary.
We need to get some legal.
Correct. I need someone, hopefully one of the people that is interested in helping would be a lawyer, because that's where most of the money goes to the first.
Ideally, what's the name still paying?
Brian Rogers is.
Brian Rogers and
I don't.
what about Drew
So I
Bowen?
just
Is he still
reached out-
on, or
I
did he
reached
drop?
out-
No, he dropped. He dropped last year.
Tom at
No, he never done.
He never did?
I don't believe so.
I swore he's found the link on his own.
Tom,
To, like,
time this week?
I have to look.
yeah.
Well, then he should do it because he's all M&A crap. What?
And we've never done. I don't think we've ever done the.
I do too.
Happy to include.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's a whole,
And for the record, I think I did record most of that
But it's not recreating the wheel.
because
I mean, we
it's my
have-
podcast.
Josh, this isn't
So I think I did
recreating
get that.
the wheel.
No,
Just
this-
leverage.
Totally.
We were starting to build a relationship with Capital
Steve, did you hear that?
Innovators. We
Totally.
have-
Just for the record,
we need to
I think I did
We have
record
a
it, just not on
document that
video.
says
What's that?
people-
On audio, what he was saying.
6:30.
Oh, really?
The whole most of our conversation. Like my thing was, I wasn't sure if I was going to die or not, but I did.
EVA 3 o'clock.
Check it out.
Just go right here.
Nice.
I